Okay, so for today, we're going to be doing Module 1, Lesson 5. And our objective is to understand the meaning of the unknown as the number of groups in division. So with our last lesson, we talked about the unknown being the size of the group. Now we're going to look at the unknown as the number of groups. The materials that you will need for today are your whiteboard, dry erase marker, dry eraser, and we will be using virtual manipulatives, which I will send to your screen. The teaching style, this is something new for this lesson, but I did kind of want to go over this with you since it's hard to understand when we're not in person learning. The teaching style or procedure that I follow is I do, we do it together, and you do. So I call it I do, we do, you do. So first, I'm always going to show an example, and you're going to watch me do it, okay? I want you watching instead of doing it yourself so that you make sure that you don't miss anything that I'm writing or I'm doing. Next, you are going to be doing the problem with me. After that, you will be doing problems alone, and that's your homework. So that's I do, where I do the problem and you watch. We do, where I do the problem and you are also doing it at the same time with me. And then you do, which is when you work on your homework alone to show me what you've learned. I will then grade your work and provide you with feedback on how you did. After that, you do have the choice to fix answers on your homework and resubmit that. Okay, so in Kami, in your Google Classroom, you can click Unsubmit, fix your answers, and then click Resubmit. It will send it back to me to grade again. So you do have the option of changing your answers after it has been graded. Let's continue. So this slide, you can see at the top, I put some eyes, and it says teacher shows student watch. So you will be watching the work that I am doing whenever you see those eyeballs on the screen, okay? And it's important that you're watching and not trying to work at the same time as me because then you might miss something as you're writing. So let me start by reading. Next weekend, my friend Cynthia is having a party. 18 people are coming. I told her I'd help her set up tables. We know that 6 people can sit at each table, but we're not sure how many tables we'll need. First, I'm going to go ahead and circle my numbers. So I have 18 people, and 6 people can fit at each table. So we don't know how many tables we need yet. That brings me to this first question. What information do Cynthia and I already have? And what information don't we know? Well, we do know that there are 18 people. 18 is our big number, and we know in division our big number is our total. So we know that the total of people equals 18. We know that 6 people can sit at each table. So if each table is its own group, we know that the size of the group, or the number of people at each table, is 6. What information don't we know? Well, we don't know how many tables we need. So if we don't know how many tables, we don't know how many groups we will have. So we know our total number of people is 18. We can put 6 people at each table, but we don't know how many tables we have altogether. Watch me use counters to show the problem and check our thinking. So I'm going to have 18 counters, 1 for each person coming to the party, and I'm going to put them into groups of 6. So let's watch how I do this. First, I need to count out 18 counters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Now I'm going to go ahead and count to double check my work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So I have 18 counters. I need to put them into groups of 6. Because if you remember, 18 is our total. 6 is our size, the size of each group. And we don't know the number of groups. So let's make groups of 6 or tables of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if this is 6 people per table, we can now see how many tables we are going to need. Here's 1 table, 2 tables, 3 tables. So now we know that our number of groups is 3. Right? Do we still agree we know the total and size of each group? Okay. And we can agree that we said our total was 18 people. Our size was 6 people. Looking at our model, what else do we know? Well, we discovered that the number of groups or the number of tables that we needed was 3. So that is what else we know now that we have modeled our problem. So 18 divided by 6 equals 3. How does this number sentence relate to the problem we just solved? Well, 18 was our total. We know in division, our total is our biggest number, and our biggest number always goes first. Our 6 was our size of each group, or how many people could fit at each table. 3, which was our unknown because we did not know the answer until we solved it, that ended up being our number of groups, or the number of tables that we needed. So 18 people divided into groups of 6 equals 3 groups. Now we're on our slide with our little guy here who's got a pencil and he's ready to work. This is showing you that this is students do with teacher. So this is where you are going to do the work with me as I am doing it, okay? So right now, I have 14 divided by 7 equals blank. So this blank is our unknown. What information do we already have if we know 7 is the size of the groups? Okay, so we know we have 14. We know we have 7, and they're saying 7 is the size of the group. Okay, so I want you to tell me by writing on your whiteboard, What is 14? So on your whiteboard, you're going to write, what is 14? We know 7 is the size. What is 14? Go ahead and write that on your whiteboard, whatever your guess is, and hold that up. Okay, so 14 is our total. 14 is our big number. We know the biggest number always comes first in division. So the first number in our division sentence is always going to be the total. Well, that brings us to what information don't we know? Well, we've got our question mark over here. We've already figured out what the total is, what the size of each group is. So what is left that we don't know? Go ahead and write that on your whiteboard and hold it up. What is this unknown right now? So what we don't know is the number of groups. Okay? Because these are our 3 variables that we use with every multiplication and every division problem. There's a total, a size, and a number of groups. We do know the total and the size for this equation, but we don't know the number of groups. Let's continue. Now we're going to use our counters to show the problem and check our thinking. So you're going to count out 14 counters and then put them into groups of 7. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to send this counters link to your screen. "14" we know is our total. 7 is our size. And we do not know the number of groups. Okay? So go ahead with your counters and first count out 14 of them. Once you have your 14, double check your work. Count to the 14 again and make sure that that's how many you have. Okay, now that you have 14 counters, you're going to make groups of 7 until you've used all of the counters. So you're going to count and move the tiles all into one group. Move the counters all into one group. And each group is going to have 7 counters in it. So go ahead and move those counters so that each group has 7 in it. Okay, let's go ahead and check your work with mine. So first what I did is I counted out 14 counters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I'm going to double check my work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, I have 14 counters. I have my total. Now I need to make the groups 7. Okay, the size of my group is 7, so each group will have 7 counters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I'm going to start a new group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I had 14 total counters. I put them into groups of 7. And now, can we tell how many groups there are? On your whiteboard, please write our unknown. How many groups do we have? What is our number of groups? Write that answer on your whiteboard and hold it up. We can see that we have 1 group of 7, 2 groups of 7. So our number of groups is 7. I'm sorry, not 7, 2. We have 1, 2 groups. Okay, let's go ahead and switch back over to your Google Meet so you can see my screen, and we're going to continue. Do we still agree we know the total and the size of each group? So we said our total is 14. That's how many counters we had all together. Our size, or how many counters went in each group, is 7. So yes, we do know that we know both of those. Looking at our models that we just made with our counters, what else do we know? Well, now we know the number of groups. And we said that we ended up with 2 groups. So we know that 14 divided by 7 equals 2. Because if we have 14 counters and we divide them into groups of 7, we get 2 groups. Now we're at the part of the lesson where you do. So the students will do their homework alone, okay? The homework is our CAMI assignment. You're going to be doing 1 through 5, okay? Now, here's what's important about this homework, and it's a little bit different from the one you did with lesson 4. Not only do you have to fill in the blanks, but it's also asking you to do things. So for example, here it says divide 6 eggs into 3 groups. It shows you all the eggs up there, but they are not divided into 3 groups. So you need to actually, with your mouse and your CAMI tools, you need to make groups of 3. And so you can see how I did that. Divide 9 eggs into groups of 3. So we can just count 1, 2, 3, that's a group. 1, 2, 3, that's a group. 1, 2, 3, that's a group. Then after you've actually made the groups by making circles, you can count. There are blank groups. 1, 2, 3. There are 3 groups. 9 divided by 3. So 9 eggs divided into groups of 3 equaled 3 groups. Okay? So go ahead and go into your Google Classroom and work on finishing that entire worksheet and make sure you turn it in.